semester. And, you know, I was kind of happy when I came up with his name. Because a year ago, when I taught poetry, I used a book called The Breakbeat Poets. And he co-edited this book with Kevin Colin, and, what is it? Okay, Koval, that's right. And Harish Ali Lansana. And it was a good book, and my students really, really loved it. But I also wanted him to come because he is a fellow Chicagoan. For 8 years, my husband and I lived in Chicago. And when I read his poem, Harold's Chicken Shack #1, I knew I wanted to hear him read this. You know, it says, "You first example of black flight, original innovation of deep fry, you beef tallow, city slick, and down home migration taste. Of course your sauce sweet and burn at the same time. Of course you call it mild, so white folks won't know to fear until it's too late." Just a little bit. He may read the whole thing. You may know him because of the documentary, Louder Than a Bomb. You may also know him because he appeared on Brave New Voices. His first book was an award-winning one by the name of Wild Hundreds. Right now, he is director of Young Chicago Authors. And he continues to work with Louder Than a Bomb, which is the largest youth poetry festival in the world. He has so many accolades, but I know you want to hear him. So welcome to the stage, Nate Marshall.
Oh no. Oh man, it's crazy out here. It's all good. It's all good. What's up, y'all? Okay. We're here. Poems. All right, cool. Give me a second. I got this. All right. So, I want to start with like one of my favorite poems. It's not mine. It's a Langston Hughes poem, and it's called "The Motto." And it goes like this. It's little. I play it cool. I dig all jive. That's the reason I stay alive. My motto as I live and learn is dig and be dug in return. Cool. Cool. And now we'll do actual poems. You know what? I'll start with I know what I'm gonna start with. Okay. So, does anybody have like social media? Y'all got that? All right, cool. So, so I have this one poem, and I like it because it sort of reminds me of this thing that perhaps you've done on social media. Maybe you haven't. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only person in the world that's ever been, thinking and been like, man, I wonder what happened to that one kid who transferred out of my middle school in 5th grade. Let me find everything ever about them, right? Right. So, so if you do that, right, the interesting thing about it is that information on social media tends to be presented in the most recent and then going back in time, right? And that's such a specific way to get information that I wrote a poem thinking about that, right? So this poem is called Palindrome. For those of y'all that don't know, like a palindrome is a word that goes, that is the same forwards and backwards. So like race car or mom or dad or, other word. Hannah, right, exactly, the name Hannah. It's a very good one to pick. On her profile, I see she has 2 kids. Now one she had in high school, now none at all. She unaborts one. She is unpregnant in 8th grade. She unresembles her favorite pop singer Pink. She uncuts her hair. It pulls into her scalp from clumps on the floor. Her new boyfriend forgets the weight of her. She leaves her new boyfriend. He's forgetting her phone number. She becomes my girlfriend. She picks up the phone and I am on the line ungiving a goodbye. Her best friend trades letters between us. We each open letters from ourselves with hearts on the outside. She transfers to our magnet school. She moves to a neighborhood close by. We separate at the lips. We have never kissed behind the school. She unchecks the yes box on the note and I take away my middle school love letter. I unmeet her cop father and her Chicano moms. We walk backward into Baskin Robbins, throwing up gold metal ribbon ice cream into cups. It rounds into scoops, flattens into gallon drums of sugar and cream and coldness. We are 6 years old. Maybe we can go back to then. I unlearn her name, the way it is spelled the same backward, how it flips on a page or in my mouth. I never knew words could do that until 5 minutes from now. All right. Oh, snap. This is great. You know what? I was going to read one poem, but since he brought this, I'm going to read another poem. Yo, this is already like my favorite bar ever. Like truly, y'all. Y'all who live here come here all the time. You really should. All right, so this poem is called Praise Song. What do you need to know about this poem? There's cognac involved, all right? Which is similar to this moment. So here we are. Praise the Hennessy, the brown shine, the dull burn. Praise the dare, the take it, the no face you're supposed to make. Praise the house, its many rooms, hardwood and butter leather couches, its richness. Praise the rich, their friendship. Praise the friends, the child of the well-off, the child of the well-off, the child of the child of welfare, the child of welfare. Praise the diversity, but praise the Hennessy. And again, and again. Praise the new year upon us. Praise my stumble, the shaky eye, the fluid arm, but the steady hand. Praise my hand, the burning it has. Praise the dive into the gut of a friend, the dousing of my hand in his ribs. Praise the softness of skin, the way it always gives. Praise the pulling, the calming down. Praise the fuck that, the jump back into all 5 of my friends' fists first. Praise all 5 of my friends pinning me into the thick carpet, knees in my back. Praise my back, how it hurts and raises anyway, how it flips, how it's the best friend of my fists. Praise the swinging pool cue, how it whips air like a disobedient child. Praise the disobedient and all the chilling I won't do. Praise the child's smile on my face, the fun plunging a knee into a cheek of my best friend. Praise his blood, the brightness of it, a sun I bask in. Praise my blood, the nose flowing wild with effort, the mess and taste of it. Praise the swallowing, salt and its sweetness. Praise the morning, the impossible blue, Midwestern January above us. Praise the blues, dulled in my denim by all the brown. Praise the brown shine, the dull burn. Praise all 6 in my jeans, our salt and life sitting dry on my thighs, mixing, refusing to wash away. Cool. Cool. So I'll read this next poem, then maybe I'll read like some new things, and we'll kind of see where it goes. So this is the poem that Joanne was talking about. This is Harold's Chicken Shack #1. So for those of y'all that don't know, and if you don't know, like, I'm sorry for this like deep gap in your education. Harold's Chicken Shack is a very delicious chain of restaurants, primarily in Chicago, though there are some in other parts of the world, mostly places where there's like a lot of Chicagoans that have moved there. So like in Madison, Wisconsin, there's one, or like Atlanta or Nashville, right? But the thing that's important about Harold's Chicken and why it's kind of, first off, the shit is delicious, right? That's what you need to know. But second off, it's a chain that started on the South Side in black neighborhoods. It was started by a guy named Harold Pierce. And it was kind of started in response to systemic racism, right? Because like fast food spots and other restaurants wouldn't go in a black neighborhood. So dude was like, well, we got this way we make chicken. Like, let's just do that and sell it, right? Which is continues to be like the genius of the disenfranchised, right? To make when folks won't make for you. So this is Harold's Chicken Shack #1. It starts with an epigraph from the rapper Common. The epigraph is this: I was born by a lake chicken shack into church. First defense against food deserts. When the white folk wouldn't sling us burgers, you gave no fuck. Stuck your golden ringed hand into the flour and fixed the bird. You, first example of black flight. Original innovation of deep fry. You, beef tallow, city slick and down home migration taste. Of course your sauce sweet and burn at the same time. Of course you call it mild so white folk won't know to fear until it's too late. You, no corporate structure, just black business model. They earn the recipe and go make it their own. Every cut of crow you throw in the grease is dark meat, the whole shack, shaking, drenched in mild sauce, sweet spirit, baptized. Cool. Yeah, man. Yeah, I really, this is kind of fun because I really enjoyed like making this book because I was just like, yo, all right, like, how can I get cognac and like chicken and like basketball into like just like into print? How can I do such a thing? And tricked a publisher into doing it. So, aha, dreams do come true, kids. All right. So this book I'm working on next is, I guess the next project is called Finna, and so I'll read some poems from that. This poem that I'm gonna read, it is a sonnet, but I guess what you should know about it is it sort of plays with a construction of like Black English, right? And this is not a construction that's specific to Black English, but it exists in many languages, right? So there's a thing called the habitual be, right? Some of y'all have probably heard of that because y'all are a very learned crowd, right? There's many English majors in the place. But the habitual be is like when you say, rather than saying like, I am doing something or I am, whatever, you say I be. And that's not just a perversion, right? That's not just, or it's not a perversion. It's not like a breaking of a rule, but it means a different thing, right? So to say I am making money means a different thing than if you say like I be making money, right? That means I'm like habitually, I'm making money, right? Which I'm not. I write poems, but that's the hope, right? I don't know. I always say that one because I'm like trying to summon or something, right? All right, cool. So this is called Habitual, and it's a sonnet. I be, but I don't is. I been, and I am one who be on my own biz. I love, not a be, but see, know I been loved. I'm one who been that and then not deserved much, 'cause I've been on my own dirt. I don't know love, I've been a lie, but don't be a lie. I be fly sometimes, but don't be a fly. Sometimes I be addict-like, but not high like an addict's like. Just scratching low stones like an addict might. Stop, not an option. I be getting mine. Been getting over. Been over this, but be caught in a cycle. But you be what you be, and it be good. And I be moved and making new habits. Cool. Cool. And so, so this next piece I'll do, it's sort of inspired by my grandmother, but it was really inspired by this interview that I heard of Tamir Rice's grandmother, right? So Tamir Rice, for those of y'all that don't know, was a young man who was killed by the police in Cleveland while he was 13 and he was playing with a toy gun, like a kind of like colorful toy gun. Police saw it, thought it was a real gun, like immediately shot him, right? And killed him. And the thing that struck me is in this interview with his grandmother, she was talking about how he was not allowed to play with toy guns, right? How he was like breaking a rule in the house that she had set forth, like thinking about his safety, right? Thinking about ultimately like this thing that did happening, right? And I think about that because my grandmother had a very similar rule for me. She would always like steal toy guns if I ever got them, right? And so yeah, so this is sort of about, yeah, it comes from that. So this is called Conceal. Grandma, who kept books for a living and read corner store romance novels. Grandma, who kept dictionaries on the kitchen table and slurred words into contraction. Grandma, who taught me how to pass a poll test and how to beat a draft exam. Grandma, who told me to study hard and leave school if the NBA was an option. It's true. Grandma, who bought black and called us her little niggas with a smirk. Grandma, who taught me how to shoot a bank shot and told me to quit the team if I rode bench. Grandma, who paid for cars in cash and gambled herself broke on the weekends. Grandma, who hid toy guns I got as gifts. And when she passed, I pulled a real shotgun from the wall of her closet. Cool. Cool. All right. So, yeah. Let's see. So there's another guy named Nate Marshall, right? Oh, okay. Some people know this. So there's another dude named Nate Marshall. We're a little bit different. A little bit the same though. He is a white supremacist. I am not. You could make a Venn diagram if you wanted to. I don't know. Maybe I think he likes football, so we have that in common. I don't know. He's probably not taking a knee, decidedly. All right. So this poem is called Nate Marshall is a White Supremacist from Colorado, or Nate Marshall is a poet from the South Side of Chicago, or I love you, Nate Marshall. When I first made my name Nate, I was just a boy at summer camp, looking for cool in the muggy shadows. And so, when the white boys snipped Nathaniel to just a touch of the tongue to the mouth roof, it seemed to me a religious moment. A new confirmation as, okay, this was 2000, and you had been Nate Marshall for decades by then. Years later, I find you buried in a Google search of myself, and I follow you silently for the next year like a high school crush. I tell my students about you. The day when we wonder who we could have been if privilege hadn't put us in a college classroom. I tell my ex about you in bed, and it's convenient that there's this other Nate Marshall to be the liar lying there this time. I see your failed run for office, and I think about how your ties to white supremacists spelled your demise. The Black History Month paper I wrote on the Black Panthers in 3rd grade wouldn't color me radical enough, and I am ashamed I've never been pushed out of a spotlight for loving my people too much. Your day job is roofing, and I just watch HGTV in hotels. You are the truer amongst us, Nate. You, peddler of propaganda and seller of shingles. Can you show me how to love what you love? Every time I've said, "What's good, nigga?" It's possible we've matched our mouths symmetrical around the 2 G's in the middle. I won't lie to you, Nate Marshall. Or to myself, Nate Marshall. I too have hated a nigga and lived to tweet the tale. I too have sat suspicious in my basement, wondering who was coming for my country. I too have Googled myself and found a myself I despise. I see you, Nate Marshall, and now you've left Twitter after I told my followers to tell you that they loved you and your book and your commitment to Black people. I mean, he's committed, but in a very different way. It's strange. And I feel you, Nate Marshall. I've left places and loves when they told me they loved a Nate Marshall I didn't recognize. Cool. Yeah. The funny and kind of like the jacked up end of that, the real end, is that he came back immediately after the election. Wednesday, he's like, I'm coming out. Dun, dun. I was like, all right, fam, all right, that's how you want to live life? Cool. All right, yeah. So I'll read this. Me and Lauren were talking earlier about working on a book and about ordering a book. So I'll read this poem. This is called The Way to Order a Book of Poems. And it starts with an epigraph. The epigraph is this: I don't mind being sad when I haven't lost anything. And that epigraph comes from my ex, but at the beginning of the relationship. And in the beginning, we were drunk at a bar on 79th Street. The sign on the outside said nobody under 30, and she ordered a blue motherfucker, and it was too sweet. And so we split my Hennessy, kissed a frantic rhythm into each other's mouths. A month in, we said all the big words and went to a wedding, and we planned a litany of lives. When she said I should go, we were outside another bar. I left to read poems in the end. A. Van Jordan told me to get his book Magnolia published, he reversed the order so the story ended at the beginning, before the tragedy, at the moment of greatest potential. In the end, I left to read poems, and we were outside another bar when she said I should go. And we planned a litany of lives and went to a wedding. We said all the big words a month in. A frantic rhythm into each other's mouths, my Hennessy kissed. It was too sweet, and so we split. And she ordered a blue motherfucker, nobody under 30. The sign on the outside said, at a bar on 79th Street, we were drunk. and in the beginning. Cool. Yeah, so, yeah, okay, cool. So, all right, let's see. All right, so yeah, I love that Langston Hughes piece that I did. So I'm gonna kind of use that, and we'll go into some other things. Cool. So it's like I play it cool, I dig all jive. That's the reason I stay alive. My motto as I live and learn is dig and be dug in return. I play it cool, I dig all jive. That's the reason I stay alive. My motto as I live and learn is dig and be dug in return. Back in it, step not lost. Crisco, Cristo, spit hot sauce. Meats hot grease, eat beats, not beef diet, but I write like Keats, Chief Keef, Rankin, Brooks, Whitman, Frost, Scott Heron with the rare songs I brought, yo. Academic with a street side, got a couple uncles used to have to sail the street. Wise me, though I be wise, shy like I never left. Got some niggas chillin' on the low end like your credit check. Never step halfway, all day worker. 2 jobs, 3 side hustles, no sleep. Buy the damn crib, own this, no lease. Leave it in the will for my fam grown niece. If you don't know me, call me edgeless, peerless, fearless. Hear this legend, I play it cool, I dig all jive. That's the reason I stay alive. My motto as I live and learn is dig and be dug in return. From too far out south to gentrify, but I moved up to the hood where they finna try. Over east, dedicated overly, right like I consume food, overeat. See me, always follow my gut. Rotund coming up, I was broker than broke. No funds, now I got land, got equity, check your G, pay mortgage with my words and melodies. Working man rap, distrust gender. Working them raps, can I get a hand clap? And that is all that I need. No beat, no sweat, acapella spit, heat like goat breath. Focus while you folks joke, press ya pharaohs folks, what I wrote locust plague. Poet with Pulitzer raps, trying to pen them quips that make my sister laugh. I play it cool, I dig all jive. That's the reason I stay alive. My motto as I live and learn is dig and be dug in return. Talk that truth that make your daddy mad. King of the ball head, this scallywags. Came from behind, but I battle back. Now I'm in the lead, never hunt, but I stay in the hunt like an alley cat. Yo, I don't carry tunes or guns. I just bury dudes of what I do for fun. Teach at college what I do for funds. Then I talk with my nephew, amuse with puns. Yo, rap is an art, it seems, and me carry May Weems. Whole hood, I carry they dreams. Abolition, what I want, and a school with the right funding. That's one thing, got more demands, got plans to build. Bust gates, expand the field for the fam and the stranger too. Y'all know what I aim to do. get free. I play it cool, I dig all jive. That's the reason I stay alive. My motto as I live and learn is dig and be dug in return. Is dig and be dug in return. Is dig and be dug in return. Cool. Kill. We did it, y'all. All right. I'm gonna do maybe 2-3 more things, and then I'll get out your way. Thank you guys. You all have been very great and very gracious. I'm super happy to be here. Furious Flower is such an important institution and such a meaningful institution to me. So I'm very glad to get this invitation. So yeah. So this next poem is called 5011. 5011, and 5011 is my favorite number. If you don't know how much that is, sorry for you. 5011. How much is owed to those who wore the chains, who tilled the land, who nursed the babes, who mixed the grits, who fried the food, who chopped the wood, who picked the bowls, who ran the road, who fought the war, who shared the crop, who made the name, who wore the noose, who blacked the codes, who sparked the schools, who juked the blues, who showed the soul, who left the South, who stayed the course, who caught the hell, who marched the march, who broke the strike, who struck the blow, who took the vote, who held the hood, who housed the club, who queered the notes, who spun the jams, who funked the flow, who built the thing, who built the thing, who built the thing, who built, you know. Take the payment you ain't give for all that and press it down. Make it overflow 50-11 times. And give me that in my own numbers, in my own currency. Cool. Cool. So I'll read a very, very short, super duper new poem. It is, so again, this next book, I'm trying to think a lot about black language and slang and all that. So this is a short poem. It's called Took a L, Fam. If you've never taken an L, you probably have. You just don't have that language. So it's called Took a L, Fam. And you'll find out what an L is. No, not the train that steak knifes through the city. No, not brown paper twisted and honey sealed for a slow burn. No, not another name for God, though perhaps prayer is in order. Just another leaving, another heart handed back, politely or not. Just another or nah for the list. Just another night alternating the side of the mattress I sleep on to keep it even. Cool. That poem is so depressing. All right, it's so sad. I'm gonna read a happier poem. Actually, I'll read one thing from the book and then I'll end on a more hopeful poem. So because that seems irresponsible to just leave you there. Be like, all right, good night, folks. There's alcohol and roads. Life is terrible. People leave you. Good luck. All right, no. So yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So I will. Let's see. Are there There's college students in the building, certainly, right? Are there any freshmen in the building? All right. There's like two very polite, very quiet freshmen. They're like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm here, but I'm not trying to like get pennies thrown at me. Please don't tell anyone. All right. So I'll read this. This is called recycling. It's your first year of college, and you should be missing home by now, but mostly you don't. You read the Chicago newspapers and call family on Sundays. You pick up going to church at a place adjacent to the projects. You're not from the projects, and the ones in Chicago seem worse, but there's comfort in being around plain-spoken folk. The church folk feed you and also cook you food. You take African American studies classes and sleep through Spanish and write poems at night. You read the newspaper. You consider pledging a fraternity. You go to parties to watch people. You don't miss home. You call your ex-girl a lot. You imagine her face across the phone line. You stare at the scar on her chin. It is shiny and smooth. You read the newspaper. You text new girls mostly. You invite them to play cards and bet clothes, or take them to dinner on your birthday so you don't spend it alone, or you share their extra long twin beds, or you just text them. It's your first year of college and your nephew is tiny and your niece is young enough to be happy and the world is new. And you are not going home for Thanksgiving. You are in the South at a new friend's house. You go to church with his family and to his old high school's basketball game and to his malls and to his grandmother's house. You did not make your team past 9th grade and never went to malls much. Your grandmother has been dead for 2 years now. You read the newspaper. His family are nice people. You do not miss home. You go back to school. You stop talking to your ex-girl. She has a new guy. You do not miss home. You write poems. You read the newspaper. There are still more kids dying. Your first year of college and you should be missing, but you're still here. You write papers about black people and voting and violence and families, and that is the same paper. You don't read the newspaper. You have finals to finish. You go to church on Sunday with your new friend, and you talk to new girls and consider pledging. You have heard the fraternities will haze you. You have heard about beating, but you are not from the projects and you are not in Chicago. You stop reading the newspaper. You decide to kiss a girl and mean it. You decide to pledge a fraternity. You should have more information about the newspaper and the girl and the fraternity. You should call home more. You don't read newspapers or call. You are not from the projects or Chicago. You do not miss home or your ex-girl or your newspaper. There are still more kids dying. You convince your new friend to pledge the fraternity. He worries about the hazing, the beatings. You tell him this is opportunity. Don't miss it. And thank you guys again so much. This has been a lot of fun. And I'll end with this poem. This poem is called Finna. And I'm finna read y'all this poem. So this one time, I was finna say finna in an academic context, and a voice in my head said, shouldn't you be worried about using a word that ain't a word? And I was like, word? And for a long time, that was how I let my life happen. I let my mind tell me a million no's that the world had implanted in me before I even formed questions. I let my power be dulled by my fear of fitting. But I remember a million finnas I avoided to get here. Like the day them dudes jumped me off the bus and I was finna get stomped out like a loose square. Or the day they got to shooting at the park and I was finna catch one like an alley-oop. Or the day my grandma died and my grades dropped and I was finna not finish high school except I had a praying mama and good teachers and poems to write. I'm thankful for all these finnas that never were. And when I remind myself of who I've always been, I remember why my finna is so necessary. Finna comes from the Southern phrase fixing to. Like I come from my Southern grandmothers. And finna is this word that reminds me about everything next. Even when I've been a broken boy, I know I'm fixing to get fixed. I'm finna be better. Every dream I have is a finna away from achievement. Each new love I uncover is a finna I unfold. Every challenge I choose to meet and not let defeat me is a finna I fight for. My hope is like my language. It's like my people. It's black, and it's brown, and it's alive, and it's learning, and it's growing, and it's alive, and it's laughing, and it's alive, and it's learning, and it's alive, and it's fighting, and it's alive. And it's finna take on this wide world with a whole new slang for optimism. Thank y'all.
Nate Marshall rocks, yes. I hope y'all are finna buy some books. They are available upstairs, while hundreds will be sold by the JMU bookstore upstairs. Also, Furious Flower has 2 more events this semester. October 19th, Duke Hall Gallery, Duke Gallery Court. Duke Hall, there we have Kwame Dawes and Matthew Shinoda. They'll be presenting from an anthology they did of poets writing in response to Romare Bearden, a really celebrated artist. We're doing that in conjunction with the art department, October 19th, 4 o'clock. And then on November 15th at 4 o'clock, Madison Union, we have Nicole Smith, Seeley. I'm finna, anyway. Nicole Seeley will be here with her debut collection, Ordinary Beast. We have lots and lots of fun things coming up next semester. Karen is trying to tell me something.